Tingle fans, and welcome back to Only Tingles ASMR. The first thing I wanted to do on this video was just say thank you all so much for the continued support. I'm almost at 100 subscribers now, which is wild to think about. I started the channel a couple months ago just as a fun little passion project. I've watched ASMR for years and years and years, and I've always kind of thought about doing it myself. Obviously with the hopes of helping you all relax and sleep or concentrate, whatever it might be. So all the amazing comments, everything I'm getting is great. So I truly want to thank you all so much for the support. It really is a fun community, and I appreciate you all. And I hope the videos continue to help you relax and sleep and study, concentrate, whatever it is. But yeah, with that said, I'm gonna do another Myrtle video today. I've got some hard candies, as always. We'll do a couple different hard candies. I might do the cream savers, the strawberry today. I've got the butterscotches and the orange cream savers too. But I'll do some hard candy whispers, and we'll do a couple of these Myrtles. We haven't done them in a while. Yeah, as always, if these videos are relaxing for you and you're not subscribed already, another subscribe would be great. A comment, like, whatever it might be, everything helps. And yeah, I truly appreciate you all. So let's jump into where we left off. But I'll get my little Pokemon bookmark here. At some point I might open some Pokemon cards on this channel. It's another little passion of mine. Maybe I'll do that. I know that could be a good ASMR too. Alright, let me get a hard candy going here. I'll start with the strawberries and cream. I haven't done these in a while, so I might be rusty. The body in the moonlit ruins. As the night came on the island, Logico and Iritino split up to cover more ground, looking for clues and a way to radio for help. Logico stumbled upon a ruined church, bathed in moonlight. Then he stumbled over a dead body. It was the second first mate. The suspects are Philosopher Bone, a dashing dark philosopher who pioneered the ethical theory that he is not responsible for his actions, but he should be paid for them. 5'1", right-handed, light brown eyes, bald, and a Taurus. Brother Brownstone, a monk who has dedicated his life to the church, specifically to making money for it. 5'4", left-handed, dark brown eyes, dark brown hair, Capricorn. Sister Lapi, a nun who travels the world doing God's work on his time. Her habitat is Kashmir, or her habit is Kashmir, and her habit is spending. 5'2", right-handed, light brown eyes, light brown hair, Cancer. Locations: the flooded pews. The wood of the pews is rotten and warped. The overgrown organ. Indoors. Vines and weeds have covered the organ, and bugs skitter out of the pipes. The cracked altar indoors. A huge crack runs through the middle of the stone altar. The weapons. A rock, medium weight. When you can't find another weapon, a rock is always nearby. This one's chipped. A string of prayer beads. Lightweight. Ivory prayer beads covered with tiny engraved symbols. A holy relic, medium weight. It's a totem of some long-forgotten god with a terrifying visage. Okay, the clues and evidence. Philosopher Bone never set foot in the flooded pews. He wouldn't get his feet wet. Alright. So, we know Philosopher Bone didn't go into the flooded pews. So, that's definitely an X there. The suspect at the cracked altar was born on December 25th. Pretty sure that's, it's just missing. So I was born in December and I know most of December is Sagittarius, but I think the 25th is on the cusp and I don't know what the next sign is. So we have to go to Exhibit B. I think it is right here. December 20, Capricorn, December 22nd to Jan 19. So the Capricorn is Brother Brownstone. So the suspect, okay. So Brother Brownstone was at the cracked altar. So Brother Brownstone was at the cracked altar, which means Brother Brownstone couldn't be at the other locations. That means nobody else could have been at those locations, which now puts us at Philosopher Bone had to have been at the overgrown organ, which means obviously Sister Lapie couldn't have been there, so she had to have been at the flooded pews. So we've got our locations locked down. Now, remember, we haven't done these in a while. If you're new to my channel, we've been doing these for a while. But for this logic puzzle, you have to remember the murderer is lying and the other's telling the truth. So whatever the murderer is saying is wrong. It's opposite. They're lying. So it's kind of basically a trial until we figure out who the liar is. So what we will do is we assume the first two people are telling the truth and the last person's lying, and we see if everything matches up. If not, we go and then we say, okay, the first person, the last person are telling the truth, the middle person is lying, and then just kind of test everyone and see which one works out. So I always like to start with the first two people telling the truth and the last lying. So, and for these, because we might be erasing these, I always do smaller X's and O's so that we know which ones are 100% confirmed and which ones we're working through. So, Sister Lapie did not bring a rock. Sister Lapie did not have a rock, so we'll do a tiny X there. A holy relic was not in the overgrown organ. So the holy relic exists, and the overgrown organ is right here. Sister Lapie and Philosopher Bone brought a rock. So that means Philosopher Bone did not bring a rock, because we're assuming Sister Lapie is lying. Okay, that narrows it down. So, Philosopher Bone, which would then mean Brother Brownstone had to have brought the rock. So then we cancel these. Now, we know from this, Brother Brownstone had a rock and was at the cracked altar. So the rock must have been at the cracked altar. Which now means that the holy relic had to have been here, because we already know these are X's. So put a circle there. X, X. Okay. Now, if Philosopher Bone was at the cracked altar, or the overgrown organ, we don't know what weapon he had. was at the flooded pews, and that the holy relic were at the flooded pews. So that would mean Sister Libby had the holy relic here at the flooded pews. So we would put an X there and an X here, which would put a circle there. So that would mean that Philosopher Bone had the string of prayer beads, overgrown organ. So the prayer beads had to have been at the overgrown organ. And then we've now, and I think this actually all checks out, so I think we got it right on the first try. Philosopher Bone, prayer beads, organ, prayer beads, organ, Brother Brownstone, rock, altar, rock, altar, yeah, Sister Libby, holy relic, flooded pews, holy relic, flooded. So Sister Libby was the liar, so we got it. So Sister, please excuse my terrible handwriting. I should have been a doctor with the holy relic in the flooded pews. So we can check the back just to make sure our work is good. We'll take our time as we flip through the pages for those sounds. So this was number 48. Sister Libby with a holy relic in the flooded pews. Sister Libby laughed a strange, uncanny laugh when she was accused. Don't you get it? Don't you see? It wasn't the captain that brought us to the island. It wasn't the ship. It was the devil. Okay. We got this one. This might be the last one. 50. Yeah, after this we get to the more difficult ones, which I tried to jump forward to before. And they're a little tricky to do. So we'll have to figure out if we can do them. Okay. Also, I'll take a minute in this video. I'll talk about it again, but I was at my local Barnes & Noble yesterday. No, 2 days ago. And I've always thought I was gonna buy, so there's different versions of Murdle. There's like volume 1, volume 2, there's a kids version, stuff like that. So I just so happened to see, let me grab it, I have it right here. There's a new one that came out. I don't know if it's new or not, but Murdle, the School of Mystery. It's a Barnes & Noble exclusive, but check it out. Apparently G.T. Carper, the author, I guess he actually lives in my area. He was at the local Barnes & Noble, and I got a signed copy. It's pretty cool, right? I love that. So I saw this, and there was a section for the signed Myrtles, and I was like, okay, come on, I can't not buy it. So we got a new one to fire up on the channel at some point. But we still have quite a few of these to work through before we get there, so, but we will get there. I'm confident. Okay, let's do the next one. Before we go to the next one, I'll get another hard candy. We'll do orange cream on this one. A Death in the Dead Woods. Logico didn't like this island. There was something wrong with it. And there was something wrong about the way they'd been brought here. And there was something wrong with Iritino, who didn't seem to be enjoying any of these mysteries. Logico went on a walk, and he saw someone dart in the dead woods. He followed, but when he got up she was dead. Another murder, who would have guessed? Suspects. Chancellor Tuscany. As the head of Deduction College, she knows every possible way that a person can die. Most in theory. 5'5". Left-handed. Green eyes. Gray hair, Libra. Sir Rulian. A sophisticated gentleman who was just recently knighted. If you believe the shoddy paperwork he carries with him. 5'8", right-handed, blue eyes, red hair, Leo. Earl Grey. He comes from a long line of Earl Greys. Yes, of the T. No, he doesn't sign autographs, but he'll give you a free bag if you ask. 5'9", right-handed, light brown eyes, white hair, Capricorn. Okay. Here are our locations. The ancient ruins, outdoors. They seem to pulse with some sort of ineffable aura. The gnarled tree, outdoors. Bent and twisted at impossible angles. It looks like a witch. The moving cave, indoors. Every time you find this cave, it seems to be in a different spot. Interesting. Weapons. A prayer candle, medium weight. If you were praying that somebody died, your wish came true. A trained monkey, heavyweight. He's lurking in the woods. He may be watching us right now. A rock. A regular rock, but weirdly, not from this island. Chipped. Okay. Back-to-back rock weapons. Clues and evidence. You would think the monkey would be up in that gnarled tree. You'd be wrong, okay? So the monkey was not in the gnarled tree. Someone scrambled to give Logico an important message. I think the words are just jumbled, so I think that's Tuscany, right? The letter is Tuscany. At the rock. T-H-A-H-A-D, T-H-E. Yeah, Tuscany had the rock, so Chancellor Tuscany had the rock, which means nobody else could have had the rock, and Chancellor Tuscany couldn't have had other weapons. Okay, remember what we did. The murderer's lying. Others telling the truth. So, we'll do the same thing where we assume the first two people are telling the truth and the last person's the liar. As an academic, I can tell you that Cerulean brought a prayer candle, okay? Cerulean brought a prayer candle. So we're going to do these tiny again, remember? So Cerulean couldn't have brought another weapon. So now that means that Earl Grey had to have had the trained monkey. Cerulean said a prayer candle was in the ancient ruins. A prayer candle was in the ancient ruins. That means that the rock had to have been by the gnarled tree, which then means the trained monkey had to have been at the cave. So Earl Grey says, I was not in the ancient ruins, which means Earl Grey was in the ancient ruins, because we're assuming they're lying. So Earl Grey, ancient ruins. Do we think this checks out? I don't know, we'll find out. So Earl Grey had a monkey, but we know the monkey was at the cave. So Earl Grey couldn't have been in the ancient ruins if that was the case, right? He would have had to have been at the moving cave, or would have had to have a different weapon. So that assumption of those who's lying and who's telling the truth is incorrect. So let's erase the little ones. I'm going to do this off the table so the camera doesn't shake. I should really just get a pencil and not an erasable pen. This time around, let's assume Cerulean's the liar. So, as an academic, I can tell you Cerulean brought a prayer candle. So, Cerulean brought the prayer candle. We'll do this again. X there, which would put a circle there. A prayer candle was in the ancient ruins. Okay, we'll say a prayer candle was not in the ancient ruins because Cerulean's a liar. So, prayer candle was not in the ancient ruins. Earl Grey, I was not in the ancient ruins. Okay, Earl Grey was also not in the ancient ruins. Okay, so doesn't do much for us. So Earl Grey had the monkey, but Earl Grey wasn't at the ancient ruins, and the monkey was not at the gnarled tree, which only leaves us with the moving cave, right? So Earl Grey had to have been at the moving cave, right? Because Earl Grey had the monkey, but Earl Grey wasn't at the ancient ruins, and the monkey wasn't at the gnarled tree, and also not the ancient ruins. So let's do an X there, circle. Let's do circle, X, 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 which means the prayer candle had to have been at the gnarled tree, and the rock had to have been at the ancient ruins, which means prayer candle, tree. So really had the prayer candle, so they were at the tree. Now, does this all match up? I think so. Chancellor Tuscany, rock, ancient ruins, rock, ancient ruins. Cerulean, candle, tree, yep. Earl Grey, monkey, cave. So we've determined Cerulean is our liar. Sir. Cerulean had the prayer candle. And they were in the gnarled tree. As always, let's do a quick little check in the back here. It was Cerulean with a prayer candle and the gnarled tree. We got it. I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. There's something wrong with this island. It made me do it, don't you see? The island made me do it defense. Logico had heard that one before, and Cerulean was already being tied up and thrown in a lighthouse by the time he finished his monologue. This is pretty special, isn't it? Logico asked Iritino. Solving mysteries together on a mysterious island. But Iritino seemed preoccupied. What was he thinking about? I haven't read all these, but I'm beginning to think this island is definitely haunted. Okay. Let's do the last one before we move on to the more hard-boiled, the level 3 ones. I think we'll finish with this one today, and then we'll start with the harder ones in the next video. Okay. The killing of Iritino. Iritino dies. That's not good. As Deductive Logico was walking back from the dead woods, he saw that someone had lit the light of the lighthouse. And then he heard a scream. Unmistakably the scream of Inspector Iritino. Logico raced towards the lighthouse, but he was too late. Iritino was unconscious and badly hurt. When the castaways handed to him, Logico worked to crack the case. Okay, suspects. Baron Maroon. An incredibly haughty man who holds a grudge. Nobody wants to offend the Baron. At least nobody who's still alive. 6'2", right-handed, hazel eyes, red hair, Scorpio. Cerulean. a sophisticated gentleman who was just recently knighted, if you believe the shoddy paperwork he carries with him. 5'8", right-handed, blue eyes, red hair, Leo. Sister Labi, a nun who travels the world doing God's work on his dime. Her habit is cashmere, and her habit is spending. 5'2", right-handed, light brown eyes, light brown hair, Cancer. The locations. The light itself, now shining with a terrible fire that warns all seafarers. Stay away. A secluded cove. A sandy cove where the castaways have Iritino on a stretcher. He's still 2 days to speak. The generator indoors. A massive machine that powers the island with coal. Weapons. A rock. He used to commit the first ever murder, and probably the last. A bottle of oil, lightweight. Enough oil to keep the fire going or to smash over someone's head. A sailor's rope. Obviously whoever tied these people up didn't use sailing knots. Okay, let's get to work, clues and evidence. Cerulean never liked the person who brought a bottle of oil. Okay, so that means Cerulean didn't bring the bottle of oil. So, bottle of oil is here. Because obviously Cerulean didn't bring the bottle of oil. Another message was slipped to Deductive Logico from a representative of the Investigation Institute. Interesting. I think we've got that somewhere else. Is at the beginning. Oh no, is it? Okay, we've got. I'm wondering if it's just the letters, so we have. This is the Scorpio symbol, so S. This is, I think, Aries. Cancer. S, C. This is the alchemic symbol for oil. So that's an O. Let me see, O. This is the radium. No, what is that? What the? Is that radium? That's radium, I'm guessing, right? Okay, yeah, I'm saying radium. That's a P for Pisces. That's a I. This must be Scorpion. Scorpio, sorry, for the symbol. Scorpio, what is this symbol? That's the H. Must be had. Let's see. The squigglies, yeah, A for Aquarius. That little upside down thing is the dissolve right here. So it's a D. Had. R. That's an R again. I believe this is an O. Oh, rope. Must be rope. Yes, rope. Okay. The Scorpio had rope. So the Scorpio. Baron Maroon had the rope. Okay, Baron Maroon had the rope. Which means that Cerulean had to have had the rock. And Sister Lapi had the bottle of oil. Okay. We've got our suspects and weapons locked in, which is good. Alright, last one. We'll do the same thing. Last person's lying. So Sister Lapi was not near the light itself. So Sister Lapi was not near the light itself. A bottle of oil was in the generator. Okay, bottle of oil was in the generator. Okay. A rock was not in the generator. Well, I think we already knew that. Oh wait, I'm sorry. So this person's lying, so a rock was in the generator. Well, that's weird because the rock was in the generator. Well, that can't be right because we know the bond. I think Sister Lippy is interesting. Okay, we have bottle of oil in the generator, which means bottle of oil in the generator here. And then we know Baron Maroon had the rope, and the rope wasn't in the generator. We know that. Sorry, you might be able to hear some people walking outside. So Cerulean had the rock. We know the rock also wasn't in the generator. Interesting. I'm thinking this is not the proper route. Oops. So let me erase these. Let me do this off the table again so the camera doesn't shake. This one's gonna throw me off because they're both giving the same hint. The generator, we'll see. So we're gonna assume Cerulean's the liar. Baron Maroon, Sister Lippy was not near the light itself. Okay, so Sister Lippy not near the light itself. A bottle of oil was not in the generator. Okay, a bottle of oil was not in the generator. Bottle of oil, because that person's lying. So not in the generator. A rock was not in the generator. Okay, now this is gonna make sense, I think. So the rock, so that means the rope had to have been at the generator. So the rope belonged to the Baron, and the rope was in the generator, so then we know the Baron was also in the generator. Which then means that Cerulean, well, because we have only one location left, so Cerulean had to have been at the light itself. Which now means that Sister Lippy had to have been at the secluded cove. So, if the Baron had the rope with the generator and the rope was in the generator. Oh wait, I didn't do these, sorry. That means Cerulean had a rock in the light itself. The rock had to have been at the light itself. Which means secluded cove had to have been Sister Lippy. Yeah, with the oil. There we go. So Cerulean was the liar. Cerulean with the, where do you have the rock? Where? At the light itself. Alright, let's just double check our work here. Make sure we're, Cerulean with the rock and the light itself. Cerulean just killed 2 people. But Logico didn't stick around to hear Cerulean's defense because one of the castaways told him that Iritino was fading fast. So he ran to the cove and held him. Iritino, hold on, Logico shouted, but all Iritino could say was, the ancient ruins, ... and then he was gone. So many mysteries go unsolved, like what could they have been to each other? And what did it have to be this way? And perhaps most important of all, what did he mean by his final words? Alright, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the last round here of our difficulty level 2 of Murdle. As always, I hope this video gave you lots of tingles as well. Next time we do Murdle, we're going to step it up to the level 3 puzzles, and hopefully we can solve those. But yeah, as always, I hope this video gave you all some great tingles, and we'll see you all in the next one.